Our presentation today is on the issue of rethinking organisational strategy with reference to the case of Wall of Sound. The article we are focusing on is titled Rethinking Organisational Strategy: 5 Steps in Developing a Sustainable Strategy Through a Value-Focused Approach by A.J.M. Pangakar. Throughout his piece, AJ utilises the case of Wall of Sound Audiovisual Limited to explore how using varying business strategies can impact the success of a business. Wall of Sound is a retailer that specialises in high-end audio and video products owned and operated by experts John Wall and Maria Sound. The business was founded in 2001 and quickly found success within a niche but growing market of audio enthusiasts. The secret was the use of a 5-step approach to sustained value-focused strategic planning. Throughout his piece, Pangakar takes the approach that organisations must anchor their strategic plans in sustained strategic value rather than solely focusing on conventional strategic objectives. The structure of our presentation will involve further analysing the issue of value-focused strategic planning and discussing Pangakar's perspective on this form of strategy. We'll then follow this up with our own interpretation and any implications there may be for strategic accountants using this strategy.
Wall of Sound employ a value-focused strategic plan within their business. Value-focused strategic planning is a method of developing, marketing, and selling products to a niche market. There is a 5-step approach to implementing the plan. The steps are as follows. Step 1 determines the readiness of the organisation to implement the plan. In this step, Wall of Sound must view themselves through the eyes of their stakeholders. What makes Wall of Sound who they are? Establishing this assists John and Maria to understand the primary focus of what their business is, being a boutique AV store who offer expertise and products unrivaled by their competitors, a cause which they are slowly losing touch with. Realising this assisted John and Maria to rethink the organisation's strategy and align it to their updated value chain. Step 2 takes the strategy considered in Step 1 and formulates a plan through the development of a proposition that adapts to the market needs. John and Maria want to shift the business from its current retail focus back to why they started it. The proposition suggested will see Wall of Sound take advantage of the market trend and invest more into customer intimacy and the aid of AV leadership instead of focusing on how to remain competitive with pricing, basing their value on their expertise and product range, something their loyal customers are happy to pay the premium for. John and Maria recognise the strategy is only as good as their ability to execute it. This brings Step 3, the development of key performance indicators, which are used to measure the success of the implementation of the strategy against expectations set for Wall of Sound's primary operating activities. Step 4 formulates a risk management plan to reduce and/or eliminate Wall of Sound strategy's potential to fail. Basing its value on expertise and product leadership, Wall of Sound have shied away from competing with its competitors over the price of their products. The plan will see Wall of Sound leverage their strengths, particularly their product leadership, to build strategic value. This sees Wall of Sound secure more market share whilst maintaining their profit margins through the sale of more exclusive audio-visual equipment. The addition of Wall of Sound's online store also combats the risk of the strategy's plan to fail through e-commerce to ensure all their customers' needs are met along with the remaining market trends. The 5th and final step of the implementation of a value-focused strategic plan is embracing a change strategy. By redefining their cultural values, John and Maria were able to make the change to a value-focused strategy. Given their primary focus, the change to a value-focused model was incremental rather than transformational. This change has attracted like-minded and passionate individuals to be employed by the business, creating a successful environment that has been a challenge for competitors to replicate.
Pangakar's approach summarises the events and observations that took place at the company during each step of the strategic planning process. He explains the reasons as to why generating a strategic value plan is a success to a business in the long term. He explains also why Wall of Sound was a successful audio-video retailer for many years, but then had an abrupt end, and outlines why John and Maria, the owners, did in each step to establish Wall of Sound. The step-by-step analysis included 5 main steps. Step 1, determining organisational readiness. Step 2, developing a strategic value proposition. Step 3, developing key performance indicators. Step 4, formulating a risk management plan. And Step 5, embracing a change strategy. These 5 steps carefully analysed by Pangakar in order to prove his point that having a strategic value approach is the key to a company's success. A main argument was that John and Maria felt like they were slipping into myopic retail focus and that they were more concerned with store operations and not the initial reason that they established the business. John told his team that Wall of Sound's primary operations succeed when core support activities remain healthy. Thus, they have to maintain and develop its core competency, which is audio-visual knowledge, as competitors can't match this. This way, Pangakar expressed that focusing on value chain support activities as well as key business strengths is essential to company success. Another argument is people began shopping for audio-visual online, which reduced traffic in stores at Wall of Sound. Therefore, they launched an online environment that is subscription-based, where customers can access tracks, get support, and receive exclusive discounts. The company also teamed up with Amazon, and this Amazon store strategy focused on aligning product leadership with customer intimacy and loyalty. This way, Pangakar expressed that companies need to evolve to meet changing customer expectations and stay relevant, which Wall of Sound did. Another argument is, as competitors were finding out that Wall of Sound was creeping up to their level, they decided to introduce websites and different products to differentiate from them and get the advantage over them. Therefore, Wall of Sound's success was focusing on core strategic values, which was items that were not offered by big box retailers or easily accessible to general public. Pangakar is telling us that having a clear core value behind a business can benefit in the long term, as it shows a point of difference from competitors and makes sure companies stand out in the industry. Here, that's how Wall of Sound succeeded.
Our group's interpretation of the brief has been that Wall of Sound has used the longer-term approach to manage their business, and this has meant that there has been significantly greater value that they have been able to deliver to their customer. The structured approach that Wall of Sound took was to focus on the value that their products derived from customers, rather than the products they were able to deliver. By focusing on the consumers and the value that they delivered rather than the product itself, they allowed Wall of Sound to think in more detail about how they could deliver, and they were able to adjust their position to make sure that they weren't obsolete. Obsolescence is very prevalent in the audio-visual industry because of product proliferation. This is when new technology is released and incorporated in the average item for that category, and when it does so, it makes all of the other technology before it that is not as powerful obsolete. Because of this, people in this industry are constantly needing to invest more money to update their products. What Wall of Sound did here, by including a plan to change the product delivery, is to make sure that product proliferation, before it has even occurred, were positioned to be able to make that need. This approach that they took was very different to the traditional approach due to conventional strategic habits such as cost cutting, price management, brand awareness, and brand accessibility, not being as effective in an industry that is so vastly advanced with technology. Therefore, our interpretation was that this was a successful approach in taking a longer-term perspective on managing the business. For my next slide, I'm going to be talking about the implications for strategic accountants. When talking about focus on the future, accountants tend to look back, whereas strategic accountants would look forward in order to try and build a foundation for future success. Any future business planning has an effect on strategic accounting, as resources will need to be realigned or redistributed to meet future needs rather than current obligations. A customer-centered approach to value requires significantly more investment in research and development, as well as a reduction in research and development expenses related to product differentiation. Strategic accountants would assist with decision-making in delivering customer value in ways that are desirable, viable, and feasible. Value-focused strategic planning will create a need for strategic accountants to look further into the future at value creation rather than short-term planning to ensure their organisation remains relevant in years to come.
Overall, Pangaka's use of the company Wall of Sound to explore the notion of value-focused strategic planning is a strong and persuasive text that aligns strategies of this nature with company success. Throughout his text, Pangaka uses many examples in which Maria and John's business decisions based on this long-term strategy lead to economic and reputational benefits for the business. This is due to their clear understanding of the company's direction embedded in having a long-term vision instead of a short-term plan. Pangaka's utilization of a company that finds success in this strategy is used to encourage and promote the idea of value-focused strategies in real-life companies. Unfortunately, however, due to Wall of Sound being partly based on a real-life company that may have found a success provided they follow these steps, Pangaka's advice is merely speculation and cannot be held as fact. Still, his well-thought-out strategies during each stage and real-life examples provide a compelling and believable text. Pangaka is also not alone in his views. It is clear that with the rapidly changing state of the world and issues regarding climate change and the effects of COVID-19 on the rise, businesses will have to continue to grow and evolve to stay aligned with their customer values. Whether this be by using sustainable energy sources or by creating ethical marketing campaigns, companies will have to make regular changes to ensure they are fulfilling their company's core beliefs. While some companies may instead continue to prioritize financial targets and margins, many believe it will be those who deliver superior consumer value and stand by their initial company vision that will stand the test of time. This is the message we believe Pangaka is trying to portray with his Wall of Sound example. Thank you for watching.